Well, Adam, what's the latest with the Isaiah Winder situation? Where's he at the moment? His future going forward?
Oh, not much has changed since we released the statement. So he'll there's a police investigation, so we can't comment on what happened. But where he sits with the club and the playing group at the moment is he's still part of our playing group. He just won't be training with the senior squad at the moment. He's still got use of the facilities and physios and all those sort of things, but we're sort of heading in this direction while we transition our list and bring some youth in and some excitement, and he's got a little bit of work to do to get that back.
How disappointing was it that he obviously got the second chance on the rookie list not that long before and kind of got himself in a bit of a situation straight after?
Yeah, really disappointing. I mean, I hadn't really seen him since the draft, so obviously he was at the Indigenous camp. It happened over there, so I haven't seen him since. So, disappointed. Still need to look after his health and well-being, though, and make sure he's okay in that sense. But there's a bit of work to do.
From what I know of him, he wants to be a real leader in that Indigenous area. How down on himself is he after something like this? Yeah, well, it's these things when they obviously become so public as well. He's a 20-year-old young man, so we're to look after both sides of the situation. So, we're an AFL club and we've got standards, but we've also got to look after the person.
In terms of where he sits at the police investigations, it's sort of just he trains with the Waffle guys until the police investigation's sorted out and then he really sort of calibrates.
It's hard to tell with those things. They do take a while, so we'll just get through. I mean, there's only next week left, and then we'll get through Christmas and we'll see where we're at after that and see how he's gone.
And how did you and the club come to learn? Did he tell you, or did you find out further chance?
I'm not quite sure. I was told on Saturday morning, and then we worked our way through it. So I can't tell you exactly, but maybe I can't tell. I don't know. It got to me though pretty quickly.
In terms of the decision to re-rookie him, though, going back to the draft process, what were you hoping to get out of this year from his football standpoint? I showed a little bit in glimpses last year.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, this is a big discussion on him, but he's a rookie list player. He's 20 years old, and he's made a mistake. He made his way back onto the list through his work ethic and his dedication to getting fit, and he's made a mistake. So, yeah, I know it's a big deal at the moment, and it is for him, but we just got to try and respect the young man he is.
With pre-season underway now, Adam, what are your plans to ramp up the fitness of the group when you compare it to last season?
Yeah, it's interesting. I said this before, the health and fitness of our group is probably number one priority at the moment. And last year, I think mid-January, we had 17 PBs from the 2K. And then we had 6 collision injuries, and then COVID started to kick in, and then we never got that back. So the baseline of our health is really important. And once again, while we transition our list and our younger players are coming through, we're going to lean on our younger leaders. So Oscar Allen, Barras, Cole, Shee, Duggan, those types they're driving the standards. In particular, while the senior guys aren't back until Monday, last Monday. There's been a really good high standard block of training they've done. So they look pretty fit. Now it's to connect it to football.
Do you set the pre-season up with them with any sort of challenge related to fitness?
Oh no, this is expectations. Yeah, the games where the games change and across the competition is there's so much time off for the players, which is great for them. And if we handle it well enough as a club, then it's great for us as well. We get fresh, mentally healthy players, but they've got to control their own destiny. You set them programs, and it's about how hard or how well they do it. And I'm really pleased on what they've done in their own time. So they've come back ready to go. Now we've got to overlay it with football.
Bringing some new people into your fitness team, your strength and conditioning area, have they brought fresh ideas that you'll implement?
Yeah, we've gone pretty hard at development within the club. So there's 3 new roles there with the list that's going to transition into that younger. I think we brought in 7 players this year, 4 or 5 last year, another 6 or 7 next year. So we're going to get young pretty quick. It's not there yet. So that means we need to bolster up our development program. And then our fitness program is always evolving. There's made a few changes there, which brings a little bit of change. But essentially, it's up to the players.
You guys had a bit of a setback already coming into the pre-season. How do you go about reviving his career?
Yeah, I don't know if it's as dire as that, but he does need a clean run at it. He had a tiny niggle in his calf, and we've just been conservative. So he's been running for probably a month, and he could start training tomorrow, really. But we're just going to take our time, get to Christmas, and hopefully get a really good run at it in the new year. But it's so small. But unfortunately, it's been recurring, and we're trying everything we can to get him right.
You sort of went with him a bit at half back last year. Did you like what you saw from that, and is it something you might persist with?
Yeah, I think he was All-Australian halfback in his first couple of years with us, so we know what he can bring there. It felt like it was a smoother transition coming from where he was with his fitness base, unfortunately not having one. It was an easier transition back in AFL. So if he gets a good base, he's healthy and fit, he can do both. So we need to look at that. It'd be a great problem to have, getting him back and having those discussions, but I feel like we've still got a bit of work to do to get to that.
You said this time last year guys were running PBs and the site was going quite well and was really fit. So you got time trials today. Is that kind of going to give you your first indication of kind of how they are compared to last year?
Yeah, they did it this morning. So yeah, everyone's fit. Everyone hit their times, all those things. They're all sitting there. So good signs early. I think everyone looks a little bit leaner from what I can tell. And we'll hopefully get some good numbers on the track, in particular in January, February, when it's most important. But yeah, the fitness side of things we're quite pleased with.
You said you had 17 PBs last year.
Yeah.
Do you know how many you had this year?
Well, that was in January, so you do. We just did it this morning, so I couldn't tell you, but that was in January when we did the last time trial. So I know we do hang our hats on the time trials. I know I did as a player as well. But looking at the group, I don't need to see them do a 2K to know if they're fit or not.
What impact do you think the sort of young group that you brought in through the draft, and even a guy like Campbell, can have this year? And is that what it's going to take to sort of boost yourselves up the ladder and maybe sort of usher in, for want of a better term, a new sort of phase in general? Yeah,
there's a new era coming, absolutely. Yeah, and the draft, we're after a couple of mids, we're after a ruck, after a running halfback, after a small forward, and we got all those on the first night, and then we got a couple of NGA boys the second day. So the mix of the draft we're really happy with. It's a slow burn, though. You can't get them straight in the deep end first couple of weeks, but early signs are that we really like what we've got. That with the Campbell Chesser and Oscar Allen didn't play a game last year, and Dom Sheed and Tom Cole and these guys. So I would have thought from round 23 last year, we played Geelong in Geelong. If you looked at that side and then compared it to round 1 next year, it'll be, 80% different. So there's a change coming.
Is there a confidence kind of within the club that you might be sneaking under the radar, given the poor year last year, but you're getting all these players back and really key players? Is there a sense that you might be underestimated by teams and you could shoot back up and be in finals contention, have a good year? Yeah, that's an interesting question. You just don't know. Like, there's a little bit of unknown about us. If we click, we get everything right, everyone healthy, everyone fit. But there's also, we've got some ageing players, and we've got some really young players, so list demographics different as well. So, we're not putting a ceiling on it, but we need to get healthy, need to get fit, and then we can worry about our style of play. So it's not day one, because it's been working for the last 3 months. So we're in the first phase of that.
There was a bit of talk that Shuey suffered a slight setback not too long ago. Can you just clear that up?
It was like 2 sessions type of stuff. So he just went a bit hard. He's on turbo boots, so he really wants to set the standard. He wants to give it a good run. So he went really. So he's pulling back a little bit. So he won't do the 2K, but he's training.
Is he keen to be captain again next season?
I think so. Yeah.
And when does that timeline set out for the...
We normally do it in the new year, but I can't see us changing too much. But we normally use a player vote and we'll contribute. But yeah, I wouldn't have thought there'd be much change.
And the fact he had a good run at the tail end of last season, how much confidence did that give him in this body?
Yeah, pretty good run. Yeah, probably didn't see the best of him, but he was out there. So I think he's really keen to get a good pre-season in and then get back to the form he was a few years ago. That's his next goal. It's still there. I can see it, see the way he trains, and so we'll see how he goes in the new year.
Are there any injury concerns with Jack Darling?
It's tight back, yeah. So once again, probably went a bit too hard the first couple of days. He came back early and tried to join in with the younger guys who've been going pretty hard, and I think he got a bit of a shock. So his back stiffened up, so I think he'll be fine in a couple of days. I hope so.
You mentioned the time trials. Is there any standouts?
I don't, look, Jamie Cripps is flying at the moment, but yeah, I don't know any of the times. I just went and had a watch. So they ran really well.
Anyone impress you from the new crop?
They didn't run. Yeah, so I think they're all pretty fit, those boys, from in their own right in their competition. But it's a different level when you get to AFL, and I don't need to see them run 2Ks on their second day. So yeah, we'll give them a bit of time.
So a lot of guys have been training for a few months, and a fair few of the older boys came back earlier than they had to. Do you kind of sense there's a little shift in attitude this year after kind of having a disappointing year last year and expecting so much more? Is there a bit of a shift that they're kind of really hungry to right those wrongs?
Yeah, the inner pride, resilience, all those type of things. Guys have been around for a while, dealing with success, now dealing with failure, and having a real sense of vision and focus on what we need to do. They're all really keen to get it right. So, and that's expected. But they're executing as best they can. And that, like I said earlier, the younger leaders are the ones that are really going to take over the club. From the age profile from Barras down, we're going to lean a lot on those guys.
Has Chester fully recovered from his injury? And if not, when do you expect that?
Yeah, well, that's probably the only other issue with what we've got at the moment. There must be 7 players who haven't played for 12 months, and them being fit and them being footy fit is different. So we just got to be careful we don't break the new toys. So they're all looking really good, but when you overlay it with the intensity of training, we've got to look after them. So they won't be in every drill, they won't be in every session, because it's still taking a bit of time for some of these guys who had significant injuries that they're not going to just get back into it and away you go.
Alec Waterman being added to your waffle list. There's no room on the senior list at
Yeah.
the moment. Is someone you keep a close eye on?
That's what your brother thinks, yeah. Well, he was on our list a few years ago, so we know the person. Part of what happened last year at senior level really affected our Waffle Eagles. So I think some of the rules and regulations around recruiting just shifted slightly, and it allowed us to get a couple of guys to help us be competitive. If you've got a healthy list, you're going to be okay at Waffle Eagles for us. And last year, I think we averaged 3 or 4 players per game. It was a real challenge. So getting someone like Alec, Jacko Nelson's come in. He's going to probably captain our Waffle Eagles side, I would have thought, although I'm not sure if that was meant to be announced. Hopefully bolster some maturity in that group.
One thing you haven't really spoken about, I don't believe, is the Alistair Clarkson accusations. Are you going to comment on those?
No. I'm glad you asked, but no.
Have you spoken to him?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Yeah, and Fags and all those guys. So it's not something I'd like to talk about, and I'll let them work through it as best they can and support the people behind closed doors, and hope they can get some resolution.
Are you hoping to see him coach round 1 against Eagles?
Yeah.
Junior Rioli seems to be going okay in his new surrounds. How do you feel seeing him sort of thriving, albeit early pre-season over there?
Yeah, he's a premiership player with us. The next time I see him, I'll give him a hug. But hope he goes well in Port Louis. These things happen. Players come and go. I know it was a different circumstance with Junior, but yeah, wish him all the best.
Just Jaden Hunt, how's kind of what's he shown you early days? Is that obviously on the track, but also just kind of the person you brought into the club?
Yeah, he's a young 27-year-old. He brings what we need: speed, run. Want the ball in his hands. A bit of dash off the half-back line, and a bit of leadership from a club that's been in a really good space. So he only started on Monday, but he's fit in straight away. So it's you'll see him on the track today.
Who took out the 2K?
Sorry?
Who took out the 2K?
Jamie Cripps.
Cripps?
Yeah.
Scaffy usually?
He didn't run it. No.
Is there an injury concern with Gaff?
I don't think so. No. It's not as it's just different than what you guys think. It's not we're all building for the 2K. It's not the same. All right. Thanks, guys. Good on you.
Thanks, Dom.